dear students, myself Gangadhar Solanke and I welcome you all to the MCGM's virtual classroom.
Today in political science, we are going to start with the second chapter, that is India's foreign policy. We have got introduced to the international system and its nature and the Cold War in the last century and its effects in the first chapter of political science, that is post World War and political developments. So here now, today in this topic, we shall learn about the meaning of foreign policy. Meaning of foreign policy, factors that make an impact on it, and the nature of India's foreign policy. So three subtopics we have to cover in this topic, that is India's foreign policy, meaning or definition or the concept of Indian foreign policy. Then the factors that makes an impact on it, and at last the nature of India's foreign policy. So here we'll start. As we learned in the last lesson, that all countries are members of the international system, and though the nation is self-reliant or developed, hence there is mutual interdependence in the international system, and it may be political, it may be cultural, or it may be for the business purpose, but there is interdependence in the international system, or we call it in simple language as a global economy. Mutual dependence at a global level. International trade has made countries depend on one another for economic survival. हर एक देश को किसी और देश की ज़रूरत पड़ती ही पड़ती है, चाहे वो देश कितना भी डेवलप्ड हो, कितना भी टेक्नोलॉजिकली एडवांस्ड हो, but for different purposes, countries in the world are interdependent on each other. And each country has to decide the nations with which it should be friendly and in which bloc it should participate, or what position should take in international relations. So this is very important. Each country has to decide. हर एक देश को डिसाइड करना ही पड़ता है, have to take decisions with which it should be friendly. There are groups in the world. So not only to take decision about the with which nation it should go, but in which bloc it should participate, or in which group it should participate, or what position should take in international relations. And such decisions should be made thoughtfully. Again, the word thoughtfully, which is very important here. Foreign policy of any country has its own history, and the decisions related with the foreign policy should be made thoughtfully. The theoretical framework in which such decisions are taken is called foreign policy. So in theoretical framework, number of things are included, like discussions in the parliament, debate with the opposition parties, and also the things which are important in the local politics of that particular country, and also about the issues of that country. So all these things are nothing but the theoretical framework in which decisions related with the foreign policy are taken. Every, as you can see on the screen, every sovereign nation and independent country decides its own foreign policy. There is no interference of any other country or any other political power or political pressure beyond the boundaries of that particular country. Hence, in the discipline of international politics, which studies the international relations between nations, foreign policy has an important place. As on the screen you can see the countries of the world and also the interdependence. अलग अलग चीज़ों के लिए हो सकता है ये. फॉर द रॉ मटेरियल, जैसे हमने लास्ट लेसन में ऑलरेडी इसके बारे में पढ़ा है. एंड इन दिस द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग टू अंडरस्टैंड is national interest. National interest and foreign policy are closely connected to each other. And how it is connected, that we'll see. National interest is fostered through foreign policy, and therefore before studying foreign policy further, we need to understand the meaning, not only the meaning and significance of national interest. So the national interest implies the means through which independence and sovereignty of our country can be safeguarded. National interest also includes efforts to achieve our economic development and to take steps towards increasing our national power. As it is in the name only, national interest. So the things which are related with the betterment of nation are included in the national interest. So national interest also include efforts to achieve our economic development and to take steps towards increasing our national power, and to development in the field of economy and increasing our national power related with the foreign policy. When decisions are taken after giving a careful thought, with homework, with the preparation, with the planning, that is what is with a careful thought. To what is beneficial, important one again, what is beneficial and good for our country, we say that we are nurturing our national interest. And in this sense, factors which are included in the national interest of any country, not only of India but in the world, when we talk about national interest, then defense is the thing which one is very important, or the priority is given to the defense, that is the protection of our country, independence, sovereignty and integrity is the highest national interest. Independence, sovereignty, and integrity, which are the important things when we talk about national interest. And the next one, economic development. Again, the important thing. Economic development is also an important national interest. An economically weak nation. An economically weak nation will not be able to maintain its independence, and hence economic development is understood to be an important national interest next only to defense. जितना डिफेंस इंपॉर्टेंट है, जितना कंट्री को प्रोटेक्ट करना ज़रूरी है, उतना ही इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट इंपॉर्टेंट है. Because the country, when it is economically developed, then it is free to take its own decisions. There is no interdependence followed by the political pressure. So national interest includes defense and economic development. And now the next point, national interest and foreign policy. Foreign policy is drawn up to foster the national interest of defense and economic development. Defense and economic development. National interest is considered to be the goal. This statement is very important. National interest is considered to be the goal. Why it is important? Because it is useful in understanding the exact difference between national interest and foreign policy. So national interest is considered to be the goal. Means defense and economic development is the goal. And foreign policy is considered to be the means to achieve it. National interest is considered to be the goal. तो इस गोल में क्या इंक्लूड होगा? डिफेंस एंड इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट. और इस गोल को कैसे अचीव करना है? फॉर दैट फॉरेन पॉलिसी इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. Goals of nations change with changes in conditions and time. Accordingly, national interest also changes. And nowadays, in the today's situations of the world, in COVID-19, goals of all the nations are changed, and also the time has changed. So the economic development or the foreign policies of the countries reshaping in today's world. Now in this, the foreign policy and the factors which influence foreign policy. In this we have the first one, geographical location, then political system, economy, national leadership, and the last one, administrative factors. All these are the factors which influence foreign policy of any country. Foreign policy decides what kind of relations to have with which country in the international system. Very simple. हम जहाँ रहते हैं तो आजू बाजू में हमारे जो नेबर्स होते हैं हर एक के साथ हमारे रिलेशन सेम नहीं होते हैं. किसी के साथ बहुत अच्छे हैं तो किसी के साथ सिर्फ हाय हेलो के होते हैं. किसी के साथ अच्छी लेन देन हमारी होती है, बातें होती हैं. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन डिफरेंट थिंग्स. एंड द सेम थिंग इज एट द इंटरनेशनल लेवल कि इतने सारे देश हैं, उन सब के साथ हमारा रिलेशन कैसा होगा. इट डिपेंड्स ऑन नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स. And in that, these few things which are given in our textbook: geographical location, political system, economy, national leadership, and administrative factors. Now, one by one, we'll study this in detail. Geographical location. As you can see the globe on the screen, you must have seen the globe or map of the world, and you can see the geographical location of any nation from that. Now here you can see the geographical location of any nation. Like here is India. And some countries are far away from other countries, while there are several neighboring countries around some countries. Here, if we talk about India, Canada, which is very far away from India, and here we have neighboring countries. Some nations have a long coastline, while some other nations have plenty of mineral wealth. So in sum, the size, population, topography, coastline, availability of natural resources, all these factors need to be considered while deciding the foreign policy of country. Foreign policy of any country. All these are the things which are important while shaping the foreign policy of any country. Then the next one in this, political system. In a democratic political system, the nation's parliament plays a major role in evolving foreign policy, because there in the parliament we have representatives of the country, and with different aspects come up for discussion in parliament. The opposition parties try to regulate the foreign policy by raising questions about the same. Discussions and discussions, questions and questions, answers and answers, and after that, decision about foreign policy. Federal political system have to take account the inclinations of the constituent states while shaping foreign policy, because the affairs in neighboring nations affect constituent states, and it is always very important to take care of neighboring countries, because events in Sri Lanka may affect Tamil Nadu, and those in Bangladesh here may affect West Bengal and the northeast Indian states. सो जो एक पर्टिकुलर देश है उसके बाजू में हमारे देश का जो हिस्सा है, जो स्टेट्स है, उस पर उसका इफेक्ट हो सकता है, एंड दैट इज़ वाई इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू टेक केयर ऑफ relations with the neighboring countries, that is political system. And then the next one, which is again important, economy. In modern times, the economic condition of any country has acquired great importance in deciding foreign policy, and because of this, the economy impacts foreign policy in two ways. In that, the first one, foreign policy is shaped need by the need to establish economic relations with other countries, import export, participation in the world trade, all aimed at strengthening the economy of the country. So nowadays, at international level or in the international politics or in international affairs, economy plays a very important role. And so, to develop the economy of the country, it is very important to think about the foreign policy or the relations of the country with other countries in the world. Next thing in this, in today's world, the issue of economic security are as important as national security, क्योंकि सारी इकोनॉमी जो है वो मोस्टली ऑनलाइन हुई है. एंड दैट इज़ वाई जैसे कोई एक देश दूसरे एक देश पर अटैक करता है, नाउ डेज ये थ्रू कंप्यूटर्स भी होता है, थ्रू हैकिंग होता है. सो इकोनॉमिक सिक्योरिटी जो है किसी भी कंट्री की, उसे बहुत ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस आज के टाइम में है. A country is recognized to be powerful in proportion to the economic security it enjoys. So countries having a strong economy are less dependent, and which is very important, on other, and they can have an independent foreign policy as well. So here interdependence is the thing which is practical, which we can't neglect, जिसे हम नज़रअंदाज नहीं कर सकते. लेकिन इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट ये भी एक ऐसी चीज़ है कि जिसकी तरफ ध्यान देना बहुत ज़रूरी है. सेल्फ डिपेंडेंस इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट. नहीं तो जितना हम इकोनॉमिकली किसी और कंट्री पे डिपेंड हो जाते हैं तो हमें उनकी तरह से चलना पड़ता है, उनकी बातों पे, उनके एग्रीमेंट्स पे हमें एग्री होना पड़ता है. दैट इज़ वाई इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट और इकोनॉमिक सिक्योरिटी इज़ important. Then the next one, national leadership. Now here the president, the prime minister, the foreign minister, the defense minister and the home minister have a role in deciding foreign policy. The persons holding these positions try to maintain the continuity in foreign policy and to improve upon it. For example, if we say Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru contributed the policy of non-alignment to India's foreign policy, here in this picture, and Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee contributed a great deal to improving Sino-Indian relations. So the vision of the leader or of a government is very important in shaping the foreign policy of the country. Now in this, the last administrative factors which influence foreign policy Ministry of External Affairs, Foreign Secretary, embassies in different countries, diplomatic officers, etc. are the administrative factors involved in creating foreign policy. क्योंकि डिसीजंस जब पार्लियामेंट में लिए जाते हैं, डिसीजंस बाय द लीडर जब लिए जाते हैं, तो उसे इम्प्लीमेंट करने का काम जो होता है वो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पे होता है. द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर्स कलेक्ट इंफॉर्मेशन needed to shape the foreign policy, analyze it. सिर्फ इंफॉर्मेशन गैदर नहीं करते हैं, कलेक्ट नहीं करते, बट टू एनालाइज इट एंड गिव appropriate advice based on it. गवर्नमेंट को इनपुट्स देते हैं. The National Security Advisor also complete this task. So in administrative factors, when we talk, all the people who are involved in administration or related with the foreign ministry are very important when we talk about the foreign policy. So this was all about the concept of foreign policy, national interest and foreign policy, and the factors influencing foreign policy. Now in the next session we'll talk about the India's foreign policy, then some more objectives of India's foreign policy and early phase of India's foreign policy. Please subscribe the channel and press bell icon to get notifications.
So my dear students, this is all for today. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe, take care.